Hello, everybody. We have Brad with us. He's a financial professional who has been using White Glove virtual seminars, and he's going to tell us about his experience this morning. How's it going today, Brad?
Good. Very well. A little rainy here, but good.
Yeah, it's our first sunny day in a while. It's nice. All right, so I figure we can just dive in. You've been a host with White Glove before, so can you talk about a little bit how you were filling your pipeline prior to the coronavirus pandemic?
Sure. I hosted my first event in October of 18. We were doing them once a month, so 2 events a month for about a year. We literally had just a couple of months before coronavirus decided to increase that and go to 4 events total a month. We're kind of hitting our stride, and then everything changed.
Yeah, can you actually tell me kind of what were some of the things that you were thinking about when the whole pandemic hit? What were your initial concerns?
Um, well, not only had we increased our marketing, but we had done so because we just brought in 2 new advisors into our firm. And hired a paraplanner and a marketing director. So we literally had just made the decision to put the pedal down, pour gas on the fire, whatever cliche you want to use. And then our world kind of got turned upside down.
Yeah, no kidding. So, when this all kind of hit and then you found out about White Glove virtual seminars, was that kind of just the obvious next step for you?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have a choice to pivot, right? We not marketing wasn't an option. Um, with the way that we've structured our practice, it was just built into our business plan this year. And so it was just really a matter of which direction do we go? How do we market now? Obviously, learning about what White Glove was doing. I mean, it was one of the first phone calls I made was to my AE and just asked, tell me you guys are going to find a way around this. And you did.
Yeah, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, you didn't really, I mean, you did have a choice in the matter, and we're so grateful that you chose to stick with White Glove. So, want to talk to me about some of the feelings you were feeling before hosting a White Glove virtual seminar? Had you ever really dabbled in the virtual space before?
No. And a couple of things I thought would be true. One, I was nervous about talking to nobody. I actually really enjoy being in front of people. And so for me, I get energy from that. And I'm very interactive in the workshops that we do. And so I was concerned about not having that interaction. And then I also assumed it would take less time. We do primarily taxes, and it does take us the full 90 minutes to get through our workshop live. And so I just made the assumption that over, virtual WebEx, whatever you want to call it, that it would be a shorter amount of time. One of those two things was true. It was uncomfortable the first time I did it.
With anything.
Well, I just, you don't know if people are listening. You don't know if they're engaging. You know, you walk away from a live workshop and if you've done enough of them, you kind of have a sense for the crowd and, expectations for how many people are going to want to come see you. And I just had no sense of that at all in the virtual workshop. And so I was just kind of scared that I wasn't going to get anything out of it. But it also surprised me. It took me longer the first time I did it because I didn't know when to move on. I didn't know if people got the concepts. And so I tended to talk a little longer. We've now truncated that down and actually get done early. But those are the two big learning curves for me.
Right. So what were some of the things after a while that made you realize, like, okay, I've got the hang of this thing. This is going well. People are receiving it well.
I just had to learn. So I use the chat box a lot, and I force people to type into the chat box, and I really won't move on with the workshop until people respond to me. I'm okay with kind of the awkward pause of, until you guys answer these questions. I'm we're going to sit here, and I kind of laugh about it. The other thing that I think has actually been very positive is, as you can see behind me, I'm at home. I have the option in the state of Minnesota to go to my office. We are considered essential. For the safety of our firm, I've given all staff the option to work from home. Most people have chosen to do so. So now at the beginning of the workshops, I do them from home. And I kind of joke about the fact that I'm at home. I joke around fact that I've got 2 kids behind those white doors, and
Waiting
they
to burst through at any
at
moment.
any point. And we just kind of have fun with it. It's real life, and I think it normalizes the host a bit to the virtual crowd. And so we've kind of had some fun with that. And I've had the response that I've gotten back from some people that have attended the virtual workshops is that they, that kind of hit home with them. So I have my wife is a nurse, so I've got that going for me right now, to be honest.
That's a lot. 2 essential people.
Yeah. But we make it work. And I have had my kids come in during one of the workshops and we had a good laugh about it. At least I did. I think the other people on the other end were laughing.
We can only hope. No,
Yeah.
of course. So how many virtual seminars have you done so far?
Well, technically 6. The first 2, though, so we had 3 live events get canceled. That White Glove had filled the room, and then state got shut down, and they had to get canceled. And I ended up buying those leads from White Glove, and we held 2 of them on our own. We did our own Zoom meetings. We called all those leads and said, hey, we're going to offer it virtually. And so we did 2 that way. And then I've done 4, through White Glove more formally with Big Marker in the last couple of weeks.
And so kind of you feel like you're gradually getting better, things are starting to go a little bit smoother?
Yeah, and now that we're kind of hit the groove, I mean, obviously it's easier from a host perspective. I don't have to deal with a venue. I don't have to leave my house if I don't want to. I only have to get half dressed. There's just a lot of positives to, being able to do it from home. So yeah, we've kind of hit our stride here, I feel like.
Excellent. And would you say that the quality of attendee is still up to par as it always been? Have you noticed any fluctuations, any improvements there?
The quality of attendees is exactly the same. Yeah, I don't know how else to expound on that. We were getting what I would deem above average quality attendees anyway, prior to all of this. I've talked to my AE multiple times about our quality of attendee, and I know White Glove across the country is putting quality attendees in rooms. For whatever reason, our area seems to be a little bit above average relative to the amount of assets that these people have, and that's stayed consistent for us through the virtual workshops.
Yeah, that says a lot about the whole process in and of itself. I mean, kind of speaking to that, would you say that, since this pivot, you still receive that same white glove service and experience that you've come to know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously it's different because it's a whole different world, but there's pros and cons. I was still, if I'm just being honest, rather be in front of a group of people for sure. But the 2 biggest positives that have come out of this for us are, well, I guess 3. 1, the time from virtual workshop to the time where that client is what we would define in my practice or firm as a client. In other words, they've put ink to paper and are moving assets, has come way down. So we were averaging 90 to 180 days before from attending a live workshop to ink to paper. And our first set of virtual workshops were 4 weeks ago, and we've already got 2 people that have inked paper to bring assets over, totaling over $2.5 million. So that's the first big notice that we've had, is that these people are willing to move quicker. The second thing that's been great is their calendars. It's just much easier to get together over Zoom.
Absolutely.
And so people just have more time, and so the time between visits, the lag time is down, all that sort of stuff. To the point where in May now, we did 4 workshops in April, and in May we decided to just go for it, and we have 7 workshops scheduled in May. It's the most we've ever done by far in a month, but because of the experience we've had thus far, we just thought, as many as you guys will let us do, we're going to do, and so we have 7 of them scheduled.
Excellent. So, I mean, you got this thing down pat. You've been doing these for a long time. A lot in-person seminars. You're getting your groove with the virtual seminars. What would you say were some of your favorite things about working with White Glove? Some of the ways that they took some of the load off of that whole process for you?
Well, you guys did the legwork to figure out not only how to get it done virtually, how to market to it virtually, but then what platform to use, like with Big Marker as an example, um, and really just said, "Hey, look, we got you. We figured out a way to get you in front of people, and you don't have to leave your home." So to that end, they helped figure out the problem for us of, we need to, with the way that our practice was structured for 2020 anyway, and the assumptions we had made, we had to keep marketing. And you guys figured out that problem for us and did it pretty quickly, really. Um, and at this point, I think everybody's trying to pivot, but I also think because we're on the front end of it, it's still pretty kind of blue ocean. Um, most people in general don't like change. And so for those of us that are willing to change and willing to try something new, it typically is going to pay off in spades if you've got a good partner to kind of help with some of the finer details, which is where White Glove comes in.
Without a doubt. Would you say that that was kind of your favorite aspect, or was it maybe some of the little things, the little details that you just didn't even think you'd think of until you were in there? Or is it maybe your account executive just making sure that you have what you need for this kind of entirely new, uncharted territory?
100%, right? Because it doesn't matter if you're extremely technologically savvy or not. The fact that there's somebody in the virtual workshop with you the entire time, helping make sure that the technology runs smoothly and that you're getting to the outcomes that you want. I mean, little things like when we have a couple videos that we play during our workshop, and I never thought about the fact that I need to mute myself because it's giving an echo because they're hearing the video and then they're hearing it also again come through my speakers. And so the first couple that we did, I didn't know that that was happening, and I didn't know. And so she was in the background muting my computer for me, and kind of taking care of some of that littler stuff. I forgot to put our pop-up ad up in one of our workshops, and she was doing that for me. So it's kind of foolproof, as long as you've got a computer and you know how to turn the computer on. Really, in essence, White Glove's got the rest of it, and it's all kind of the same experience as it is face to face.
Yeah, and truly that's the goal, that's the mission that we're trying to achieve for each one of our hosts, because it's one of those things where those little details, even if I'm on a Zoom meeting, those little things totally can trip you up if you got your groove and then you notice something.
Yeah.
So just to clarify quickly, I know you said that you have seminars scheduled upcoming. Were you referring to in person or virtual?
Virtual. We have 7 virtual workshops scheduled in May.
Excellent.
Which should tell you everything you need to know about my experience, right? Because
yes,
put your money where your mouth is. I've never spent that much money on marketing in a month. We have a healthy marketing budget, but we are going to spend twice as much in May as we've ever spent, face to face or virtual. And we're doing it because of the experience we've had thus far with the virtual appointments. And selfishly, long term, I love the idea that I'm meeting people that are now trained to meet me virtually. Because being
a whole cultural shift.
Still being on the south side of 40 years old and having young kids and living in the state of Minnesota, I don't want to live here for the rest of my life. And I also probably don't want to sell my practice. So how do I move and maintain my book of business? Well, I need my clients to be trained to do virtual appointments, and meeting people this way, it gets us off on the right foot and has them trained the way we want them trained. So
100%, just kind of that involuntary shift, but as we kind of move on through all of this, we're all kind of figuring out, there are some positives, some really strong positives coming out of it.
Yep.
So with that, your experience is rocking so far. I know that there are quite a few advisors who, may not even know that this option is available. They might be on the fence, they might be thinking, I am so not tech friendly, for any of those advisors or other service professionals thinking that, what advice would you give to them?
Well, it's like I said before, as long as you know how to turn your computer on and click on a link that White Glove sends you, that's really the extent of what you have to do. Getting your PowerPoint or your presentation loaded in, if you've got other slides, I didn't have to do any of that. I just sent that stuff off to White Glove, and they figured out how to get it into the system and upload it all properly. Like I said, ours is a little bit more in depth with some videos and some whiteboards and stuff like that. And White Glove had all that figured out before we ever jumped into my first virtual workshop. And they were willing to run a kind of a test or a pilot with me ahead of time. And we did kind of a fake virtual workshop just so that I could kind of get used to the flow and all that kind of stuff. And so really it was whatever I needed to be comfortable. They made sure that it happened. And obviously White Glove success depends on our success. And you can feel that in the way that we're taken care of. In fact, I would say even when we are allowed to go back to, face-to-face workshops, I don't think we'll stop doing virtual. I think we'll do both, because I just think this is an opportunity to grab people that maybe wouldn't come face-to-face, and it opens up a whole new market that we didn't have access to before. At the end of the day, the next thought for us at Fiat is, why do we got to do these in Minnesota? Why can't I run virtual workshops, in Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, or even Florida for all, the content is the content. And so I'm just excited that this forced us into a new opportunity that we probably won't let go of when things go back to more of a normal state.
That's exactly right. I mean, as a financial professional, you've always been essential, but this whole experience has really solidified truly just how that is. And, that's what we're all about. We want to connect with those people who are just like yourselves. You have very, very crucial, essential information that people need more than ever. And this is it's a powerful conduit for it. And so, I mean, on that note, I think we've gotten pretty much everything out of this conversation that we'd want and more. Is there anything else you'd like to share, maybe to advisors listening, or maybe just some of other details that we didn't hit about White Glove in our conversation?
Not necessarily. I will say that I've been on both sides of the advisor world. I've been on the retail side and the wholesale side. And I spent 9 years as a wholesaler traveling the country, really, from West Coast to East Coast. And so I've seen every walk of advisor, every type of practice, and I've seen every different way that advisors market themselves and try to grow their practice. And it was White Glove that drew me back into retail full-time. Because when I found it, I called a buddy of mine and I said, look, I think I found it. I think I found the most efficient way to grow a practice. And so I want to try this with you. And we ended up partnering up, and I left the wholesale world and went full-time retail solely because I found what I thought was the most efficient way to get in front of qualified prospects. And so far I've been proven right, and happy to happy to admit that that's the case. So.
Well, excellent. That's powerful stuff. And I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head with it. And, just keep rocking it, keep doing that great job, keep being an example for other advisors out there, and, spreading that good word. So again, thanks for your time, Brad. It was really nice talking with you this morning.
Absolutely. All right.
Take care.